Yep. You know what time it is, man. It's Meet Your Girl P.O.C, host of Revive Radio. We are live right now on ReviveIsAlive.com. You gotta get up anyway, so why not get up with Meet Your Girl P.O.C each and every morning, starting at 7 a.m. getting this good morning mix. You already know when I say Revive is Alive, Revive is Alive, ReviveIsAlive.com. Check us out. Click that link in my bio, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Revive_POC.
You are listening to Revive Radio. The views and opinions expressed on Revive Radio does not necessarily reflect ownership, management, and advertisers of Revive Radio.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You already know what time it is. ReviveIsAlive.com. Once again, ReviveIsAlive.com. Tune in. Revive is alive.
Welcome to Revive. It's about that time. Welcome to Revive. It's about that time. All I need is one mic. You know what time it is. Open up your ears. You know what time it is. Open up your mind. It's about that time. It's your girl P.O.C. Hey. It's your girl P.O.C. Yes. You know what time it is. Open up your mind. All I need is it's about that time. Welcome to Revive. Welcome to Revive. Welcome to Revive.
Yep. You already know what time it is, man. It's Meet Your Girl P.O.C, host of Revive Radio. We are live right now on ReviveIsAlive.com, man. Once again, that is ReviveIsAlive.com. You gotta get up anyway, so why not get up with Meet Your Girl P.O.C, man? Each and every morning, starting at 7 a.m., getting this good morning mix. Today is Monday, so I know we all trying to push through because we had a great weekend. We had some great weather this weekend, so I know it took a little bit for me to get out the bed, so I know it took a lot for y'all to get out the bed, but we reviving your airways each and every morning, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend to click that link in our bio, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Revive_POC. Once again, that's Revive_POC is the place where you need to be. And don't forget, when you get there, subscribe to that YouTube channel as well as that newsletter so you can stay locked with everything we got going on here, Revive Radio. But right now, I'm really excited to be sitting right next to this gentleman today, man. He is somebody, he has mentored me in so many different ways. He doesn't even understand how he has mentored me in so many different ways. Him and my guy, Keaton. I mean, they have put the blueprint out there for me back in 2016, 2017 on WRD. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself. You know what I mean? I don't even think I could do it right. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Cool. I'm excited. Mondays can be a little sluggish.
Yes.
Except when you have the opportunity to be on Revive is Alive.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to be here. My name is Gregory Nesmith, and I'm an entrepreneur and into all things underdog stuff. And after 20 years in New York City, I'm excited to be back in my hometown of Philly today.
Yes, man. I'm excited to have you back on air. 1, because your voice is needed. 2, because you come with a wealth of knowledge. 3, because every time you get on air, you actually have some substance. You know what I mean? And a lot of people be getting on here just talking. But we need to know what's going on. We need to know what's like, definitely, because tomorrow is election day, especially for the city of Philadelphia. You just came off a load of work, you know what I mean? You're trying to finish up your, is this your last semester of grad school?
I have one more semester to go.
One more semester, but you finished up this spring semester.
Yes, I did last Tuesday.
How was that?
It was a grind, and I'm just excited. This is my first Monday without class in months.
And how was grad school? Because I feel like everybody, it's like the thing. I feel like it's the wave now, especially if you're a millennial, you're trying to get to that 80 to 90,000 mark. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody feels as though they have to go to grad school. Is that the thing? Like, do you have to?
Well, it's not necessarily you have to, but just let me let the folks know that in a cool way, I never finished my undergrad. So I'm back on my journey to cross off my bucket list, getting my college degree.
Really?
Yeah, so at this age, I'm back with all the youngsters, and I'm completing something that I started.
How was that experience for you, going back? Because a lot of people don't want to go back.
You learn a lot about yourself real quick.
Okay.
I had to learn how to be a student again.
Okay.
There's a bit of humility when you have 19-year-olds tutoring you in corporate finance or in operations management. And it's cool to know that I could come back and do things differently.
Facts. And what are you studying?
Economics and marketing.
Economics and marketing.
Yeah.
And especially in marketing. Marketing is something that it's taking over on a whole nother level, because now if you are an entrepreneur, you have to be your own marketer, your own PR, you got to be your own manager, you got to do so much. And me personally, I got my undergrad in business marketing too, so me having the marketing background actually helps me, when it comes down to being my own everything, especially in this entrepreneurship journey.
Come on now, marketing impacts everything we do, because almost everybody has a consumer, and then almost everybody's trying to please that consumer's needs.
Facts.
And then a lot of folks are trying to do it at a profit.
Yes.
And you name almost anything, and that's what it's about. Even nonprofits still have to find people to donate to them. So yeah, it's marketing comes up in everything.
Speaking of nonprofits, let me tell you this. So I actually read a post earlier this weekend, and it said if you really want to get into business and you really want to make money, start a nonprofit. What do you think about that?
So there's this whole space called social entrepreneurship, right? Where folks are trying to make a social impact along with potentially purpose and profit.
I love that.
And
social
so
entrepreneurship.
this idea of nonprofit, could it be helpful? I think so, because it's probably one of the first times in your life you realize that just having a caring heart and wanting to help people isn't enough. With the nonprofit, you have to learn how to organize people, how to organize money, how to build some type of infrastructure so that you can deliberately go out and consistently help whoever audience that you want to go help. So yeah, I think there's a lot to learn about how to get people to buy into what you're doing, how to make a difference at the same time. There's a lot of parts of running a business. So yeah, I think it's a good way. It's not the only way, but I would never discourage somebody from doing something that has a purpose to help people.
Fact. And one thing that I'm learning about a nonprofit is the whole tax ordeal. You know what I mean? Like, that's the come up. I know we're not supposed to say it like that, but that's really the come up, because they don't have to file taxes on certain things. So the money that they are able to, save without, having to put out, especially paying the government, it actually helps them in the revenue and getting a return on their investment.
It does, but to your point about financial literacy and money, you want to talk about having to be on your money game, be on a nonprofit.
Yes.
Because if someone gives you money, you can't just go spend it any way you want to spend it. If that money was to pay for books for kids in sixth grade at such and such elementary school, then guess what? That money you got, it better go to those sixth graders and their books. Even if you can't do it to buy meals for the homeless, because that wasn't what the money was for. And so there's a lot of attention to detail in nonprofits, probably even more so than if you were just doing your own venture, your own side hustle. Yeah,
and that's even with grants too, and that's why a lot of people are not, I would say a lot of people are not coming back for a second year after receiving a grant, is because they didn't do everything that the grant was proposed for them to do, or what they proposed in the grant, saying that they was going to do. And I feel like a lot of people are falling short on that. But grants are out there. I just want to put that out there for the people who are listening. You know what I mean? If you are an entrepreneur and you're looking for some money, the city has money, especially the city of Philadelphia. They have money. They have grants. There's some grants coming up that is going to be dispersed in July of this year. So I definitely want to encourage, if you are somebody who's starting a nonprofit, to definitely go out here and look for grants. For a for-profit, I wouldn't recommend grants as much. What about you? Would you recommend grants?
I would say try to, well, when you think about people wanting to get funding, so you hear the term like VC and venture capitalists, and I'm going to get all this money coming in. First of all, most people don't get access to that to begin with. And I think we all get to have a little bit more patience. And as they call it, bootstrapping, you can pay as you go, grow your business by selling your product or service.
That's a fact.
And then as you get more sales, then you can add on more people and more staff and more resources. So, because giving up ownership so early of an idea, I just think that isn't probably best for most people.
I love that.
Yeah, so make sure you got something before you start just giving up equity and control of your business.
And when it comes to entrepreneurship, right, especially getting up on a Monday, you know what I mean? What's the hardest thing for you when you know there's nobody that necessarily breathing down your neck, no one telling you, hey, you got to clock in at this time, you got to get moving, you got to get shaken? What's one of the hardest things that you've experienced, especially because you went back to school? That was a huge leap of faith right there.
So I'm doing that, and I'm working on a startup at the same time. I think the biggest challenge is when I'm not feeling it.
Okay.
Whether, maybe I got a little bit of a cold, or maybe I got a no recently. You pitch something and like, hey, can I do this show here? Or can I have this live event, and they're like, well, we don't think that you're large enough yet, or we don't think that's the right fit. So I think coming off some of the disappointments and still being able to keep pushing on that it's a longer game than just that one opportunity.
Yes.
And then just knowing that I believe that it's all going to work out.
Do you believe that we're going to get our reparations in 2020 so us entrepreneurs can actually get that 40 acres in the mule? That's what they're going for, Gregory. That's what they're going for, man. They're trying to get us these reparations. Do you think we really going to get them?
When I said I think it was all going to work out, I didn't say in 2020. It's not always.
I'm shooting my shot, man. Next year, I'm trying to get this bucket.
I don't know if Uncle Joe is all about the reparations, and he's the one in the lead right now. So we'll see. I mean, he did work for Obama, so he should, because he got his own hookup. But I'm all for reparations, but it may take a little bit more time than 2020.
2020?
Yeah.
I mean, I just had to ask, because you know what I mean? Everybody think 2020 is what's going to change the paradigm of what we're going through right now. Now, everybody's going to be able to have that next come up in 2021 because everyone's talking about reparations right now. This is the first thing that the candidates are speaking about. And then two is because we're going to be getting 45 out the White House. Well, I'm praying that we're getting 45 out the White House. Yes.
They need to pay us like they owe us. I'm overcharging.
Facts. And I want to ask you that because, you know, tomorrow is election day here for us in the city of Philadelphia, you know, but 2020 is something that a lot of people are talking about right now as well because we want to know who's at least going to be on the ballot for us to even get down to candidates. So, you know, what are you thinking about this 2020 election so far?
I'm wondering why we aren't running for president, first of all, because it seems like every Monday I wake up, there's somebody new. So first, shout out to democracy from, I guess, that standpoint that, you know, you can get in where you fit in.
Can.
But so with that, I'm nervous about this whole election cycle so far. Right now, Joe Biden is in the lead, and I'm not feeling him based on his record. I'm not feeling him based on him being a campaigner. I think people forget the best campaigns he's ever run, he wasn't running.
Facts. He was always behind somebody.
Yeah, he was on Obama's ticket in 08 and 12. And an interesting fact, do you know how many Democrat state primaries I've won ever running for president?
How many?
The same amount as Joe Biden.
None.
0. He's run twice and hasn't won a state.
Yes. but you got to think about it. Even though he hasn't won, he still had the opportunity of being in the White House for 8 years. You know what I mean? He is a senator from Delaware, so he's not too far from us right now.
No, 6th smallest state in the country.
But I'm saying he's not too far from us right now. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of people are feeling Joe Biden because of his past experiences as far as being that close to the Oval Office. You know what I mean? And I do understand that he has a lot of back history that we definitely need to do our research on. Everyone needs to do their research on. But at the same time, he's looking like one of the top 5 at least out of 23 Democrats. So let me break this down to you. So it's 23 Democrats running right now and only 2 Republicans.
Yeah, and I don't think any Republicans are really going to get into the ball game because I think Donald Trump's approval rating amongst Republicans is in the 80 or 90%. So even those 2 Republicans have no shot.
So no, it's 2 including Donald Trump. So it's 1 running against him, and then Donald makes the second.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Bill Weld, yes, yeah, that guy is more power to him. Thank you for.
Do you know anything about Bill Weld? I don't know too much about.
He's
Bill
a former
Weld.
Governor of, I want to say either a Northeast state.
Massachusetts.
Yes.
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
yes.
And then I believe he ran on the Libertarian ticket in 2016
yes.
as either the vice president candidate to Johnson, who was the lead ticket.
I don't know too much about him.
It was the Libertarian Party.
Yeah, so it says he emerged as a vocal critic for Donald Trump in 2016. So he actually backed Donald Trump in 2016, and now he's running against Donald Trump in 2020. So this is definitely something that's going to be big. And then let me ask you a little bit about, you know, the Bernie Sanders ticket, because I'm a huge Bernie fan. I mean, I was backing Bernie extremely big back in 2016. I had the T-shirts, the hat, and all, right? So when you think about a Bernie Sanders running in an election such as 2020, especially because 2020 is a big election, you know what I mean? For us as millennials, it is a huge impact, you know what I mean? Especially because this is the years that we'll be starting families, we'll be trying to have houses, cars, so many different things that we're trying to do. And Bernie is talking our language as far as free healthcare, as far as free childcare, as far as raising minimum wage to living wages. Bernie is talking our language. So what do you think? What are your opinions about Bernie? Do you think he's taking this one home?
Unfortunately, I think Bernie might have missed his window in 2016. And it wasn't Bernie's fault, right? The DNC was against him. The machine was against him.
Not the machine, though.
Well, I'm trying to be kind to the DNC. So I actually think Elizabeth Warren might take his space.
Really?
Yeah. She has some of the same policy, and she seems to talk a little bit more about race than he does.
Okay.
She seems to be a little bit more.
He got Nina Turner on his side though.
What's her name?
From
Simone.
No, Nina from Ohio, is it?
Oh, she's endorsed.
Yeah, let me make sure.
He also has a press secretary who was the press secretary for Bernie Sanders. Simone Sanders.
Simone Sanders.
Yeah.
Okay, Simone Sanders.
Yeah.
But what's the lady who was in Ohio? Nina something.
So yes, I see what you're saying. You're saying that he is trying to learn from his mistakes and be a bit more less sexist and more racially conscious. But I would say I get all that with Elizabeth Warren.
What is she doing? Like what does she have for the people?
She is for Medicare for all, just like Bernie. But on things like impeach Trump, she came out very strong for it. She's talked more about racial inequality. Bernie talks a lot about just inequality of the rich and the poor. She actually talks about it in terms of race too and gender. She has a plan related to, I believe, paid leave.
Okay.
She's very interested in trying to figure out how you deal with the tech companies. And so she's a little bit more even progressive and aggressive on certain issues than Bernie is, at least when it comes to race and gender.
And that's something that I'm actually learning because when it comes down to understanding what do you actually want from a candidate, you actually have to do your research as an individual because not everybody wants the exact same thing. And I feel like Bernie is just talking to that millennial core. And I have to do my research on Elizabeth Warren because I actually shied away from her because of her past, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they all got one.
And she's very boisterous too, and it's like some things that she said, didn't register with me. So I feel like if anything, I was going from anybody from the West, I was going to go and choose Kamala.
Okay.
If anything. And what do you think about Kamala and her stepping up? Especially because everybody is, throwing shade because she was a prosecutor.
Yeah, and I just, so first, I think sometimes we're hard on the brothers and sisters and then women in general. People coming after Senator Harris about her impact on individuals in the state of California, especially when it comes to crime and things like that, and some of the stuff she did about potentially locking up parents if their kids didn't come to school. And then at the same time, how much are people talking about the crime bill of the 90s that Biden wrote?
Yes.
Right? So we come at like
everybody had a hand in that crime bill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think that some of the attention she gets about the prosecutor stuff is warranted, but I also always have a little bit of a side eye towards it because I'm going, I want you to be just as hard on everybody else who has a record too. But I think she's in the running. She's qualified. She was attorney general. She's a senator from the largest state in the country.
Yes.
And so I think she's one to watch. I don't think her campaign has caught, quote unquote, a lot of momentum recently. But I think once they see her on the debates,
she's gonna be fire. She's gonna put a lot of fire under people, and I feel like she's gonna challenge people on the conversation of actually speaking and telling your truth. Yeah. And I feel like it won't be a lot of running around, a lot of conversations such as 45 did, and a lot of the election conversations that he had back in the 2016. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted to correct myself. Her name is Nina Turner. She was a senator from Ohio from 2008 to 2014, and she is the black face for Bernie Sanders at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he has learned from his mistakes. But I remember watching Bernie on I want to believe it was Breakfast Club, and just he was asked about reparations, and I didn't get a level of comfort in terms of how he dealt with the question, almost like, not that he wasn't prepared, but he still isn't very comfortable, at least in my opinion. He doesn't land on me as someone comfortable talking about race and his policies. And I just think there's an opportunity for him. But with that said, I do think he's someone who's in the running for me, obviously because of his policies. But I would like to see him get a little bit more comfortable with the fact that, that 40% of the Democratic Party are non-white.
Facts.
so you might want to get a little bit more comfy with us. I'm just saying.
And I agree, and I definitely agree with you, and that's why I wanted to bring up 2020, briefly, really quick, so people can understand that, I encourage everybody out there to do your due diligence as far as doing your research and making sure that you are picking a candidate that is right for you. But I want to go to a quick break, man. Right after this quick break, we will be doing a recap as well about the election that's going down tomorrow here in the city of Philadelphia, man. I need you all to get out and vote, man. It's going down tomorrow, May 21st. Polls open up at 8 a.m., man. 8 a.m. and don't close until 8 p.m. So there's no excuse, man. No excuse why we all should not be out voting for our local elections, man. Our local elections are the ones that really, really, really count for us here in our everyday lives, especially when it comes down to our tax dollars, our living wage, our minimum wage, our schools, our community centers, our communities in general, down to the potholes, people, man. This is what it's all about tomorrow, May 21st. Pull up, pop out, and hop out. You already know what time it is. Shout out to my guy, Gregory, sitting right next to me.
Yep.
Like I said, pull out your pens and papers, man. You already know what time it is. Revive is alive.
Take you where you want to go. Flexing on your ex, I know. He ain't never take you out. Barely even left your house. How dare that nigga run his mouth when his pocket's in the drought. The last single he put out didn't even make it out. And he done tell, and I swear his eyes don't blink. Ay, and he disrespect 2 shots and I won't blink. Ay, never really care what the these niggas think. Ay, I got deep pockets, I swear my shit's on sync. Ay, and he mad as hell, big zoo up all she sing. Ay, and he mad as hell, big zoo up in her dreams. Ay, when he mad as hell, when they say she scream for me. Ay, big zoo up, what the niggas should be. Ay, baby, won't you come my way? Got something I want to say. Can I keep you on my way? But first off, I'ma start by saying this. Ay, all hands shots if you think you can take my bitch. Ay, and I'm too tough when I shoot, swear I won't miss. Ay, baby, won't you come my way? Baby, won't you come my way? Baby girl, you can stay the night to the morn. All this ice on my arm. What you like, what you want, and I might put you on. It's just mine, can't you see? And I rock 17, all these knots in my jeans. Me and Zoo turning up, got your boo in the car, and she suit, cause it's looking like the roof going up. Counting all this bread, I don't talk to fame.
Awareness. Well, guess what? Revive Radio has created a platform for you, yes, you, to spread your brand and your brand's message. Revive Radio offers affordable advertising packages to artists, entrepreneurs, and small businesses. You can find more information about that at reviveisalive.com. And guess what? You can also book P.O.C. as your next brand ambassador. Hit us up right now at revive.poc@gmail.com.
I say, okay, ladies, now let's get information.
You're rocking with DJ Diz Dre live.
You already know what it is. Silent talk, silent talk, silent talk. Go and do it for me. Now watch me whip, now watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip, watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip, watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip, whip, watch me nay nay. Can you do it? Now watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me. Okay, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me. Do the stanky leg, 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 do the stanky leg. Now break your legs, break your legs, tell them break your legs, break your legs, break your legs, break your legs.
Hey guys, this is Serena Lewis over at Urban Seek. We create events across the city that make real community change. We couldn't do that without the support of people like my girl P.O.C. over at Revive Radio. So tune in Monday through Friday with them. Figure out how you could change the world.
Now watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip. Watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip. Watch me nay nay. Can you do it? Now watch me, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, okay, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh. Now I me yours. Now I me Superman. 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 Now I me Duff, 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 Duff. Hold on, why me Duff, 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 Duff. Now I me bop, 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 bop. Now watch me whip, now watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip, whip, watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip, watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip, whip, watch me nay nay. Now watch me, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, okay, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, watch me, watch me, ooh, 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 ooh.
DJ Diz Dre. Yo, Rocket.
Man, it's Meet Your Girl P.O.C. Revive is alive, Revive is alive, ReviveIsAlive.com, and we want you all to be a part of this conversation, man. Give us a call, 215-853-6803. Let's go.
Welcome to Revive. It's about that time. Welcome to Revive. It's about that time. All I need is one mic. You know what time it is. Open up your ears. You know what time it is. Open up your mind. It's about that time. It's your girl P.O.C. Hey. It's your girl P.O.C. Hey. Proof of consciousness. Proof of consciousness. P.O.C. You know what time it is. Open up your ears. You know what time it is. Open up your mind. All I need is it's about that time. Welcome to Revive. Welcome to Revive. Welcome to Revive.
Yep, to the yep. You already know what time it is, man. It's Meet Your Girl P.O.C. Host of Revive Radio, man. We are back live on Revive is Alive, Revive is Alive, ReviveIsAlive.com, man. Once again, tell a friend to tell a friend. You gotta get up anyway, so why not get up with Meet Your Girl P.O.C., man, each and every morning, starting at 7 a.m., man, getting this good morning, man. Shout out to the whole Revive family and team. Your girl Harmony the Goddess, Tab Money, DJ Shango, DJ Reese, man. Each and every Friday and Tuesday, you can catch your guy DJ Reese, and each and every Wednesday, you can catch your guy DJ Shango. And you already know, man, each and every Thursday we got my two favorite guys, the Assassins, man. I was just telling our special guest this morning about the dynamic duo we have, man, each and every Thursdays, man. The Assassins is in full effect here on Revive Radio, man. That DJ duo is something I'm really truly excited about. Shout out to Philly Tech Week for even manifesting and putting that together for me, man. But we are back live. Yo, Greg, how you feeling today? Tell the people who you are once again.
My name is Gregory Nesmith, entrepreneur and into all things underdog stuff, a company I started a few years ago, and I was in New York City for a little bit, but now back in my city.
Yes, man.
Happy to be home. And Mondays aren't quite the same when you get to start with P.O.C.
Yes, man. I'm excited. Like I told you guys earlier, this is somebody who's really mentored me through the radio game. He's been on the radio for how long now?
It's been about
I love that face. Dang, really?
Yeah, like regularly 5 years, and then before that on and off.
Yes, man, that's sweet. And also, let me ask you this: the underdogs. Tell us a little bit about that before we get back into today's show.
The whole idea is this: there's a lot of us out here who just want to get access to the right people and the right resources on our come-ups and comebacks. And so the whole idea is, how do we holistically win, both in business and in life?
Okay.
And I look to help people do that through radio, through podcasting, live events, curriculum, coaching, and also some investing opportunities too. Because I believe in us being aligned in our work, our well-being. And
So why the underdog? Why do you choose the title The Underdog?
Because I'm a big sports fan.
Okay.
And whether it's myself as a black man growing up here in the U.S., my parents were from the South.
Okay.
Grew up during segregation.
Okay.
Being in foster care and then eventually adopted. Just feeling like I've been around a lot of folks, including myself, who felt like the odds were kind of stacked against me to win.
I feel you.
And I know that I'm not the only person who feels that
And
way.
you winning for real.
Man, I'm grateful to
Yes.
be out here. And so the goal is, let's win together.
Facts. And speaking of being the underdogs, you know, shout out to the 76ers. And speaking of you being a big sports fan, I got to ask you this question because, you know what I'm saying, that shot. We got to talk about that shot.
Do we?
We got to talk about the
No, we
tears.
don't. No, we don't. Do we do?
We have to talk about that shot. We got to talk about the tears on the shoulder. We got to talk about it all. We got to talk about that face that he made when the shot went in, how it took 5 seconds for the ball to actually bounce in, but took 0.2 seconds to leave his hands. Like,
P.O.C,
come on.
I was trying to move forward.
I can't. I didn't know that.
I was trying to let the past.
You the one that brought up the sports this morning.
Can a brother live? You
can't.
You're taking me back to a bad place in time.
We got to get into it. Come on. How did you feel that moment when that shot bounced in the rim?
Well, first of all, it took forever to bounce into the rim.
Yes.
I was just.
I feel like the whole city heart just
I was
stopped.
I was deflated. Like it's. I haven't played ball, so I grew up in Philly, played in the public league, and so ball is important. It's the worst way to lose a game.
Facts.
And
I mean, overtime too.
And it's the only time ever a Game 7 ended on a buzzer beater. So on top of that, it was historic. It's never happened. Even Michael Jordan's buzzer beater in the finals was in Game 6.
Yes.
And so I was deflated, and then I'm just like, what happens now? Like, is Jimmy Butler coming back? Is Tobias coming back? We got Embiid crying. Does that mean he's gonna come back even more dedicated than before?
Facts.
And to be fair, it's interesting, right? Because this is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I was at a talk in New York City about healthy masculinity, and so it was interesting to see people come at Embiid for crying.
It wasn't that they were coming at him for crying. It was because he was crying on Paul's shoulder.
Yes, on Gasol's shoulder.
Gasol's shoulder. Yes.
Yeah, and
that's what it was. That's what took everybody by storm. Like, yo, that's not even your teammate.
Yeah, I think.
Like, he just cried on the first person that gave him a hug. Like, first person that touched him.
You know, you get out of a relationship, you're like, I'm just gonna give it to the first person I see next. But I agree with that. It reminds me of the situation where LeBron teammates got into a fight this year, and they were playing the Houston. And Chris Paul and Rondo got into a fight, and LeBron walked off with Chris Paul. And it's like, there's a range, right, between, don't hit Chris Paul because we know he's your friend, but he's on the other team, and then also don't go for a long walk with him either.
You're talking to him, right?
Yeah, so I think the point is, he probably shouldn't have stayed with Gasol for longer than a second or two once he realized, like, this isn't my guy.
Yes.
Let me move on to be emotional with my teammates, because anybody who's an athlete knows
that hurt.
I lost in the Final Four at the Civic Center against FLC. They went on to play Gratz with Rasheed Wallace back in the day and win the whole title. When we lost that game in the Civic Center in the Final Four of the Public League, tears. Like,
it hurts.
Well, yeah.
Especially for the Sixers, because they haven't been in a position like that in a very, very long time. Last year they did make it to the playoffs, but I mean, like, actually being able to compete in the playoffs the way that they did this time around was different.
Yeah, because last year was like, oh, this is cool. The process finally has us in the playoffs. This year was like, oh, we should be in the finals, shouldn't we? So it's also about expectations, why this one hurt more than last year. Because last year was just icing on the cake.
And then another reason why it hurt is because Philadelphians are so mean. Like, y'all don't let the players live, man. Y'all be at their front door like they owe you a check or something. Like, especially when it comes down to y'all Eagles, man. Y'all be serious on a whole nother level.
Why you yawing us all?
Because I'm not a Philadelphia fan. You know, I'm DC all the way.
I know, but yeah, I know that you yawed us for a hot second, it just quickly shifted to a y'all.
I'm just saying, like, Philadelphians, when it comes down to your sports fans, like, Philadelphians really are big about their teams, like, huge about the teams.
I'm just saying, you maybe.
Because
I thought I said nothing to Keaton for a second.
I'm about to say
you're
that.
Like the Pittsburgh in it. You see it. Y'all. You better watch all this y'all
I was
stuff.
just about to bring it up because I would never forget the first time in studio with Keaton wearing all this Pittsburgh gear, and he in the middle of Philadelphia talking about Pittsburgh Steelers, and everybody's on him like, "Yo, Keaton, I need you to chill. Like, I need you to." Him and Solomon used to go back and forth all the time about that football.
I don't want to talk about the Bullets, aka the Wizards, right now.
But let me ask you this. Before we get back into it, do you think that the Sixers have a chance to redeem themselves next year, especially with all the talk about trading and then getting a new coach and this and the third?
I do, because they have two things that are hard to find. Guys who are under 25 who could be superstars in this league, and that's Ben Simmons and Embiid. So as long as you got that as your foundation in a league that's about stars, we got potentially two of them.
Okay.
And they're under contract. So there's possibility for good stuff to happen next year.
Good. It's a good comeback. All right. I'm just asking because you brought it up. So I was like, yeah, we had to talk about it. We got to bring it up. We got to bring it up. And speaking about bringing it up, I got to bring this up because tomorrow's election day.
Yeah.
I know we talked about, 2020, but I got to get into these local politics, especially because you're here and I know you're coming with the wealth of knowledge. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start with city council at large, or do you want to get into this mayor election real fast?
Let's start with the mayor election, because I'm shocked that Jim Kenney's not running for president. Every other mayor.
He's trying to get his 2 terms down here in Philly first. He's trying to see how Philly can hold him down first. He's the incumbent, in this race. So he's looking like he has it in the bag. As far as what I've been talking about for the past 2 weeks with everybody who's either running or just heavy in politics here in the city. They're saying it looks like Kenny has it in the bag.
Yeah, and I will say I was a bit surprised because, as we talked about, I've been in New York for the past 20 years and now happy to call Philly home again. And I just remember obviously staying somewhat connected to Philly's politics and hearing about things like the soda tax and then the stop and frisk back and forth when he first got into office. And then the fact that we're still one of the most challenged economically big cities in this country.
Great point.
And so I was just a little shocked to hear that it's like a layup. Like, there's no tension. There's no shot that somebody's going to knock him off. And so
people have been talking about this since the day that he got in office.
Yeah, so I will say I'm still a bit shocked that it's so easy. Not shocked that he's going to be reelected, but that it seems like it's going to be so easy. Given that there's a lot of people in the city that it's not feeling that easy.
Well, 3 main things that he's running on right now, his priorities that he was talking about in his campaign was keeping the soda tax alive to, pay for universal pre-K, to pay for the community centers and the beautification of the city around the city. And then also he's in support of the overdose prevention sites, which I really want to get into with you. And then lastly, maintain Philly as a sanctioned city. It's like a sanctuary city, yes. So what do you think about that, especially keeping the soda tax alive? I know you just talked about it briefly, but what do you think about your opinion about the soda tax, especially because now you're spending your taxes on his soda? Welcome back to Philly. Yeah. We appreciate you.
I was never, so I'm for the things that it's going to pay for. So I don't like, sometimes we conflate things, right? Like, 2 things can't be true. I can be for universal pre-K and things like that and just feel like there's other ways we should look to pay for them. I'm not a big fan of the soda tax because I'm probably very free the people when it comes to policies. I think people should get to make their own choices. And so to single out one sugary product in the city and not tax donuts and not tax, like, come on, let people know what's good for them. And
so you're saying if you're going to tax sugar in general?
Yeah, or let people be. It's a free product. Like, let me make my own choices. Okay. And so that's why I'm always a little hesitant about laws that are impact to things where you're taking away my freedom to make my own choices. And so, so I'm not a fan of the soda tax, but I'm a fan of the things that it was created to pay for.
Well, one of the main reasons why people were against the soda tax was because they did not necessarily know where the money was going. Because at the end of the day, we still have potholes. We still have community centers that are not running effectively or efficiently. We still have public schools that need funding. The charter schools are getting the funding, but these public schools that need funding, there's still a lot of different programs that are not necessarily being funded that was supposed to be funded under that soda tax bill. So when it comes down to actually funding the programs, a lot of people were arguing about where the money was going, and it wasn't no proof of where the money was going either.
Yes, and so to me, there should not be a soda tax, but we should look for other ways to pay for those programs and obviously track where the money's going.
And that's another question too, like, I mean, a huge question mark, because somebody even asked me that and I had to like stop, and I was like, damn, I don't know where else the money can come from. Like, and if you had an opinion, where else do you think the money can come from? Instead of taxing the sodas and, you know, the sugary drinks, where else could the money come from?
Yeah, I mean, so for a party that cares so much about climate change and things like that, I believe you could have taxes related to people who may not be doing so many good things to the environment. I believe that, you know, we'd have to take a look at some of the budget now and see, is it really all in the right places? And should some stuff be diverted in other ways? And there's got to be other places to tax besides folks who necessarily aren't that well off paying for a beverage.
I think if anything, the only thing that I could come up with on spot, because I really did not have the answer for it, was like a tobacco tax, like raising, like how New York did, raise the taxes on tobacco, because I really want people to stop smoking tobacco anyway. So raising the tax on that, then also the different dispensaries, you know, the marijuana and CBD dispensaries that are popping up, I think those should be highly taxed, especially because it's $1 billion industry and it's not necessarily for everyone. It's only for certain people that can utilize these medical marijuana dispensaries that are here in the city. And then also, if we're going to do these safe injection sites that I want to get into with after we talk about this, I think those should be highly taxed. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be funded for free. The people who are going to go into these safe injection sites are going to get treatment for free, whether they have Medicaid or Medicare. It really doesn't make a difference. If they feel as though they're under the influence, they're going to treat them. So I really feel like something there has to be paid for too. So it's definitely one thing I would just say, if I can just say it off the top of my dome, would be tobacco and safe injection sites, the medical marijuana cannabis pop-up dispensaries, and then the CBD dispensaries that they have here too. But let me give you this statistic. 21% of respondents say that they are better off today than they were when Kenny was elected 4 years ago. 29% say they are worse off, and 43% say that they are in the same place, in the same shape that they were in 2015 when he was elected.
That'll get you reelected for the most part, right?
You think so?
Well, and so this is why, because that's almost 60% of folks who are like, things are the same or better.
Yes.
Right? And so you have a majority that are like, okay, things are fine or things are better. And unless you have a candidate who can speak to like, transformation's going to happen if I get into office, then people sometimes bet on the what they know. And so with those stats, I could see why he's got a shot at being reelected.
He got more than a shot. Everybody said it's in the bag tomorrow. Like, he just about to walk up there, say good morning, shake some hands, kiss some babies, and around 8 o'clock, he's going to be smiling again.
Well, when 60% of the people feel like that your things are okay or they're better off, that's going to get you back in the office. And
his opponents are Anthony Williams and then Alan Bukovich. I always feel like I mess his name up. Did I say it right?
I think so.
Alan Bukovich.
We call him Alan.
Okay, thank you. Media training 101.
When in doubt. Why do you think they call Mayor Pete Mayor Pete? Because people were messing up Buttigieg. Right? So, yeah, when in doubt, you call them by the name that you know best.
But yeah, so those are his two components. Do you know anything about Anthony Williams?
I don't know much about. I've heard the name, but tell me a little something about.
So Anthony Williams, he wants to, the three main things that he was running on, he wants to abolish stop and frisk. As we all know, that was something really big, especially coming out of Nutter. And then he wants to repeal the soda tax. He wants to stop it in general. And then he wants to stop the plans for the overdose prevention site. So everything that Kenny wants, Anthony wants to undo.
And it sounds like he's polling nowhere near Mr. Kenny.
No, not even a little bit.
Yeah, because
He's been the state senator. He was a state senator representing West Philly and part of Delaware County for 2 decades. So that's the most he has done so far. And he did run against Mayor Kinney in 2015 and lost against him in 2015.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that this reminds me of is that I'm just excited to get back into local politics here. Because obviously my local politics for the past few years was in New York and in North Jersey. But yeah, it sounds like he's not getting much traction.
Oh, yeah. Anthony, I mean, I would definitely say he's not getting much traction. I would say, if anything, people were listening to what he was saying because of, one, he wanted to stop the stop and frisk, and two, the safe prevention sites, the overdose prevention sites. And let me get your opinion on that, because I am someone who's really not an advocate for the safe prevention sites, because my people, the people that look like me and you, have been going through these problems and these issues for a very, very long time, and nothing has been done. You know what I mean?
Well, no, there was stuff that was done.
Oh, yeah, we were in prison. Yes, I get what you're saying.
They did stuff.
Yes, okay, yes. But I mean, as far as putting us back in a safe space, putting us back in a mental health, where we can revive ourselves, a safe space where we can revive ourselves, it was nothing there for, people that look like me and you, especially in that Kensington section of the city. There's so many people up there that look like me and you that have been hurting for years. And now all of a sudden that city or that part of the city is gentrifying, and more people like them are starting to be affected by that area under that bridge. Is now, okay, we need to clean up under this bridge. We need to, put safe spots and put them in a space where they can actually go to get help. My nose completely turned up at him. And what are your thoughts about that?
I'm a big fan of consistency, and we have clearly been inconsistent with how we relate to folks who may have a drug problem based on the color of their skin. A 17-year-old who is in a dorm room in University of Pennsylvania is exploring when they're using drugs. And then that 17-year-old who might be at 21st and Lehigh is a criminal. And so having that be the backdrop, I think I'm in a similar place where, no, I don't want to have any of these centers unless we're going to consistently have centers for all folks who have drug issues. Or if we just locking people up, and I don't believe we should be, well then how come we not locking everybody up?
Exactly.
And so the inconsistency, no, I'm not I'm not having it.
And
so,
then and the crazy part, Greg, it's like over-the-counter medicine. It's like opioids. It's
yeah.
Percocet.
So, and I'm like, there should be potentially 2 people who have been breaking the law, right? So
what's up with the insurance companies? Are we
the
challenging them?
So I'm like, when's the last time you were hearing about doctors being locked up and or at least arrested and fined? And so no, I think
I did. I heard about that last week in Alabama. They're trying to lock them up and find them.
Yeah, for doctors who doing something that's legal currently in the entire United States.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this statistic. So, supervised injection sites are currently not legal everywhere. In the United States, as of July 2018, there are at least 13 proposed sites seeking approval, including New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver, Vermont, and Delaware. So those are the states that had proposed to get injection sites in their states.
That's inconsistent compassion.
What you mean by that?
Meaning we're going to look out for some, but not look
cities.
out for
I'm sorry, I said states. Cities.
Well, cities, but I'm just saying this again. It's like inconsistent because are those same cities passing laws to get drug offense if it's on my record are you getting that expunged off my record? Like right. what are you, if you're caring for people who have drug challenges or issues, those aren't the only drugs. And so to me it's inconsistent compassion, it's incomplete. And no, I think people need to say I'm not having it until you want to have support for people who have issues when it comes to drugs. And again, it's this singling out. And I'm not for that
at all. And when it even comes to the opioid epidemic, it's definitely something that I would say it's a wave right now. Like, it's part of the culture, and it's sad to say, but it's the truth. And I feel like a lot of us are running from situations such as our mental health, and that's why we're going through and using these opioids to have these escapes. And I never want to compare drugs, because a drug is a drug, but it's like they're trying to compare it on the level of saying it's not as harsh as crack or heroin because it is an over-the-counter drug, so it can be healed, or you can treat yourself for these things. versus a crack or a heroin epidemic. And that is the difference in the balance of why they're trying to push more help on these opioids, because it's hurting more and more young people, such as what is the one thing that they're doing in college?
I was about to say the
Adderall.
one thing. I thought the one thing.
No, that's the one thing. But I'm saying the big
I'm like,
one.
I don't have bowling on that.
No. The big opioid in college right now is Adderall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people are trying to stay awake, they're trying to stay focused, they're trying to do whatever they got to do because they're under so much pressure. So that becomes part of a mental health issue. You know what I mean? So it doesn't even look as though or compare as a drug, because it's like, I'm using this so I can stay awake or I can stay focused, because if I'm not focused, I'm going through some kind of mental health disparity or whatever it may be. So it's like the conversation and the narrative switches about the opioid epidemic, and that's why I feel like the cities or the politicians or the elected officials want to help more in this case. I'm not trying to make an excuse, though. I just really wanted to put that other side to the coin out there.
Yeah, but this is where I push back a little bit from the standpoint of even someone who might be doing crack or cocaine, that they still have a mental health challenge too. There's something in their life that has them in a situation where they believe that is what's needed for them to get through their day. So they both come from a space of like, there's something missing and can this help me? And then that can also then lead to addiction, which could then lead to other things. And so they're both coming from that place. And so that's why I say it's inconsistent compassion, because we make one out to be a bad.
I'm gonna use that. Can I use that? Inconsistent compassion.
Yes, because we make one out to be that they're a bad person, and the other person has good intentions.
I love it.
And that's not.
That's not right at all. And speaking of good intentions and bad intentions, right? Because we do have to brief it down a little bit when it comes down to this Alabama situation. But before we get into that, I do want to just say, once again, man, please get out and vote. Philadelphia, man, please, if you are registered to vote, I appreciate you for being registered, for one. And then two, if you are registered to vote, please get out and vote tomorrow. Polls open up at 8 a.m. here in the city, man, all over the city. All you have to do, if you are someone who does not necessarily know where their polling place is, go to phila.gov, type in your zip code. The entire polling registry will pop up for you to figure out exactly where your polling booth is. So definitely do not give us an excuse of why you did not get out and vote tomorrow. And tomorrow is also a big day for the sheriff department. I'm pushing for this vote when it comes down to the sheriff department, because we are dealing with someone who has literally paid almost $127,000 in taxpayers' money through settlements, you guys, because he has been accused of everything from sexual harassment to workplace harassment, down to just anything that has to do with the abuse of women. This man has been accused of, and the city has paid out almost $127,000. We need to get him out of office right now, and he's running against two amazing black women and one black man. Larry King is Democrat, and then you have Malika Rahman, who's also a Democrat, running against him, and then you have Rochelle Bilal, who's running against him as well, who's a Democrat. So please get out and vote and do your research. And the guy name that I'm talking about, his name is Joel Williams. He's also the current sheriff here in the city of Philadelphia, and we all know how we feel about that. So definitely get out and vote. I just had to put that out there.
Right, because there's two things folks should do in the morning tomorrow.
What?
Go out and vote and start their day listening to Revive.
Yeah.
There's two things you got to do tomorrow morning to start your day. Important things for your day tomorrow.
And I'm going to be actually at the polls too. I'm going to come and do the show in the morning, and then after the show in the morning, I'm actually going out to the polls to talk to people on site. Like, I want to know what you guys are thinking as you're casting your ballot, and then when you're done casting your ballot, I want to get a recap. I want to know what's going on. But I definitely want to get into this whole Alabama situation with you, Greg. I need to know your opinions about this, because there are a lot of different opinions going on, and I feel like everyone has a thought process, because you got to think about it. The governor of the state is a white woman.
You know something, yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you have 26 white men making a decision for every woman, you know, who's in that state. What do you think about that?
So it feels like it's been months, but I know it's only been like a week or so since it's happened. It literally has felt like it's been like months of it. And I remember when I woke up, I think I looked at the news and I was like, what? it's so extreme.
Kate Ivey.
It's so I was just taken aback from the standpoint. It wasn't like they tried to reduce the amount of weeks, or they were like only after a certain trimester. There were other bills being passed in other states where like there was a 6-week or 8-week or a heartbeat bill, and they were like, no, we're just going to literally just outlaw it.
Yes.
And I just, this is the plan of the Republicans, right? Donald Trump talked about wanting to reverse Roe versus Wade. He said I would get some justices on the Supreme Court, and so this is clearly folks feeling empowered that they got their people up in the judicial branch and the executive branch, and they're like, this is our shot to turn back the clock, right? Make America great again.
Facts.
And takes women's rights away, take religious rights away. I think so. Just trying to take it all back. I don't think it's going to stand up as law, but it. You know how, what's that saying? When people show you who they are, like I
believe them.
I think this is another example of, man, from the stuff that went on in Charlottesville to what's going on in Alabama. Like, we really seeing who people are.
Facts. And let me just give you guys a quick insight on what the heartbeat bill is. So the fatal heartbeat bill is a form proposed for abortions legislation in the United States of America, which makes abortions legal as soon as the fetus has a heartbeat. So if the fetus has a heartbeat, you can no longer receive an abortion in certain states. And there are about 13 or 15 states that have passed this heartbeat bill. But at the same time, it still gives them the right to have a chance at an abortion if they don't have a heartbeat.
Yes.
If the fetus doesn't have a heartbeat.
But anybody, and especially the women listening right now already know this, and the men should know this, is that happens normally somewhere, the detection of a heartbeat, around 6 to 8 weeks. Which, as most people know, a lot of people don't even know they're pregnant
in 2 months.
6 to 8 weeks. So again, that law, even the heartbeat, flies in the face of like just science. And the ability, in a way, that's still taking access from abortion away. Where I think on the books right now, the settled law is kind of in the first and second trimester, like it's not even, as of right now, it's supposed to be debatable. Like that is legal and time when a woman can choose to have an abortion.
Right.
And so when you get to 6 to 8 weeks, they're also going against what's also been settled law at this point. But again, right, it's about power, taking people's rights away, and making America great again, when we know it wasn't that great for women
In the very
or minorities.
first place.
Yes, and so
well, it seems to be great for white women. Like, I'm not even going to you know what I mean, try to separate that, because the fact that, you know, she can sit up there, Kate Ivey can sit up there and actually sign that bill last Wednesday with, you know, backing nothing but men behind her is a huge eye-opener for me. And then if you think about it, the only reason why 45 is in office right now,
53% of them,
you know what I'm saying, is because of white women. So we can't deny that, we can't separate that, we can't take that away. Facts are facts, numbers are numbers. You know, it has been proven time and time again that white women will still back white men at the end of the day. It really wouldn't make a difference if they're a woman or not.
yes, because they are
Blessed to be a minority and a majority all at the same time.
Yeah, they are quote unquote better off than a lot of the rest of us. But then I see things like the Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Blasey Ford, where you're like, yeah, they're better off than us, but they still get dismissed too when they have sexual assault charges and things like that, and they're just like, whatever, we gotta take care of Mr. Kavanaugh. So yeah, they are better off, but even they still get it too.
Exactly.
And so yeah, the fact that they can say, well, look, Kate Ivey signed the bill, so women are. Come on, this is
not cool at all.
Yeah. So to the point about elections, this is also where elections matters, because our state reps get to vote in the House of Representatives on bills and things like this. If we don't vote for our senators who confirm Supreme Court nominees, who then end up being folks who are on the Supreme Court now who are anti-black, anti-women. So it all has a domino effect.
Yes.
And so hopefully folks will get out and vote at all levels this year, next year, because it has an impact. Because stuff like this is happening because Republicans have a lot of senators in the Senate right now, and they have a Republican in the White House, and they think this is their time.
Ugh, it's the most scariest thing ever. The most scariest thing ever. But let me tell you guys this. This is a theory that, Charlamagne the God put out. Shout out to the Breakfast Club and Charlamagne. He's definitely someone I'll be listening to, right? And he put out this theory about the whole Alabama, the heartbeat bill and everything, right? If you think about it, the population of white people in general is dying, right?
Yes.
And it's a statistic out there that says that African Americans, brown people, and other ethnicities will outlive the white population, right? And what they want to do is they want to keep their population alive. So by stopping them from killing themselves or killing, the fetuses or whatever, it makes them put more white people on this country, on this planet, which keeps their population growing. You know what I mean? And then with them having more babies, that would actually help them to sustain a little bit longer in their longevity. What do you think about that? You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that?
I mean, so based on some of the reading I've done, I think about 35 to 40% of all abortions are at least reported or tracked are by white women.
Uh-huh.
So, that's not a majority, but it's probably a plurality.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that, but I think that they're gonna do other things like stop immigration, and they're gonna like depress the other numbers.
Well, yeah, but he even added that point to it too.
Okay,
is
so he
because
did bring
if
up,
you keep, if you keep the immigrants
you get
out of the country, and you have more white women having more babies, that will make their population outgrow us, because it won't be any more interracial dating. You know what I mean? It won't be as many interracial babies and different things like that. And you would just have pure white babies walking around the United States.
I think it's a contributing factor. I think white folks are definitely worried about becoming a minority or outnumbered in this country. And so this is just another way, because even when you talk about immigration, it was all good for you to bring your whole family back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you get here, bring the whole family. And so all of a sudden, paperwork matters now because it's not people who look like them who are coming here. So I think there is something to that when you think about the context of, why are we getting strict on these bills now? Like, we weren't that strict on them before. Like, why does immigration reform matter so much now? It didn't matter back in 1950.
Exactly.
And we know why it matters.
And we definitely know why, man. We definitely know why it matters. Greg, I truly appreciate you. We do have to wrap up today. But before we wrap up, I have to give a huge birthday shout out. We have to, shout out one of our late great leaders and pioneers, Malcolm Little, a.k.a. everybody know him as Malcolm X. You know what I mean? Malcolm X. Yes, man. Big ups to my guy, Malcolm X. Yesterday, May 19th, was his actual birthday. I celebrated by going out to Malcolm X Park. They actually had a amazing Malcolm X Day at Malcolm X Park. Shout out to Ron Green, Hella Black, Hella Proud, the owner of that clothing line. He put together an amazing event. It had so many different vendors, of course, so many different jewelry collections. Like, it was just amazing out there to see our people really be able to be in our space, in the heart of West Philadelphia, be in our space, no trouble, no law enforcement, none of that. We're just out and about and looking beautiful as ever, and just being gracious. It was definitely truly amazing. And I wanted to make sure we keep his name alive, because when it comes to Malcolm X, a lot of people want to go the Martin way, but sometimes we do got to go the Malcolm way, because some things we got to get done in a different kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely truly appreciate Malcolm X. So I wanted to bring that up today. Did you have anything you want to say?
I just want to say he's an example of, for change to happen in revolution, we need folks coming from all angles. And so I as I've gotten older, it's not even for me about either or, from Martin to MLK. It's about, I'm glad we have both.
Yes.
And then also, I think Malcolm is just beautiful from the standpoint of his journey was such a winding road.
Yes.
Right? Foster care, living in different parts of the country, getting out of being in prison, getting out, being for segregation, being for integration, like the range of things. And so he shows that no matter where somebody is right now, let's not give up on them, because they could turn out to be like a Malcolm and make such a big deal and impact on all of us.
A real big deal, a real big impact. And one thing that I loved about the two, as I was doing my research and my studies over the year, is I love that there was a balance in religion, especially right now in 2020, where religion is one of the main things that we focus on. There was a huge balance in religion because you had, Martin, who was a Christian, hands down a Baptist Christian. Yep. He was all the way into it. And then you have Malcolm, who was a Muslim. You know what I mean? Shout out to all my brothers and sisters who are supporting Ramadan right now. Yep. Yeah. And the balance of the two, even how they went about, from the Bible to the Quran, like they spoke about this in their speeches and actually how they moved in their activism. So to have that balance is really what we needed at that time and what we really need right now, because we are at war. We are at a really spiritual warfare for real, because people are trying to figure out who they are, and we're trying to figure out who we are, and as we're going through so much, economic warfare at the same time, because you have people bashing the religion Muslims, and the Muslim religion, and with that bashing comes so much backlash of people not even trying to, understand what that religion is all about. So I definitely want to just say that balance back in the day was really big between those two heroes and leaders, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. God rest both of their souls, man. It's time for the next leader and the next hero to step up to the mic, man. You already know what time it is. Meet your girl P.O.C. Go ahead and tell the people how they can find you, how they can stay locked, and how they can be an underdog too.
Hey, again, it's Gregory Nesmith, and one of the best ways to find me is just go to GregoryNesmith.com, and when you get to the site, you can have links to all my social media, and let's go make it happen out here. Go from underdogs to, resetting how we win with our work, our well-being, and our wealth.
Yes, man. You already know what time it is each and every morning, starting at 7 a.m., man. Turn your radios up, spread the word, spread the message. Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Revive is alive, Revive is alive, ReviveIsAlive.com. You already know, man, it's Monday. I need y'all to push through. I need y'all to get through this top of the week. I need y'all to tell a friend that I love you too, man. Just tell somebody that you love them. Get somebody a hug. Tell them that they're going to have a good day, because you want to have a good day, man. You got to manifest and put out what you want so everybody else can get it in return, man. You already know what time it is. Shout out to, once again, to the Revive family, Tab Money, and Harmony the Goddess. Harmony will be in studio tomorrow, man. I'm really excited to have her back in studio. Revive is alive. Shout out to the whole PQRadio1.com family. Let's go. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Turn up.
Support Revive Radio and connect with us on all social sites at Revive_POC. Support Revive Radio. ReviveIsAlive.com. Become a guest on Revive Radio. For more details, email us at revive.poc@gmail.com. Stream live with Revive, ReviveIsAlive.com.
Let's just take a deep breath. It's me, Harmony, the goddess, aka your walking incense, aka your soul food, not eye candy. Let's remember that self-care is the best care. So why not allow me to be the peace that brings peace to you when you book your next massage? You can find me at Remedy Spa and Wellness on Germantown Avenue, or send me an email at harmonythegoddess@gmail.com. I like to travel. So let's live in peace, not pieces, and book your next massage with me.